this is already the fifth part from the seventh revealer of the New Age, and we will continue our studies in understanding the current change of the situation in the world and how we may be able to contribute with our minds and our heart to help humanity evolve in the right direction. And for that, it's always good to have a bigger picture and zoom out of the current world situation and see the reason and the behind it. So going beyond the effect and looking at the cause, why the world situation is currently as it is. So there have been 4 other videos before that, and now continue on page 53. One of the major characteristics of the seventh ray disciple is intense practicality. He works upon the physical plane with a constant, steady objective in order to bring about results which will be effective in determining the forms of the coming culture and civilization. Towards the end of the 7-ray cycle, he will work equally hard to perpetuate what he has brought about. He wields force in order to build the forms which will meet his requirements, and does this more scientifically than do other disciples on other rays. The 6th-ray devotee is far more abstract in mystical in his work and thought, and seldom has any real understanding of the right relation between form and energy. He thinks almost entirely in terms of quality and pays little attention to the material side of life and the true significance of substance as it produces phenomena. He is apt to regard matter as evil in nature and form as limitation, and only lies the emphasis upon soul consciousness as true importance. And that's important now. It is this failure to work intelligently, I would like to add lovingly, with substance, and so bring it into right relation with the dense outer form that has made the last 2000 years produce so disastrously mismanaged world, and which has brought the population of the planet into its present serious condition. So it's really the practicality of understanding energy and matter, and in its right terms, not considering one as evil and a limitation, but really being so grounded and rooted in the spiritual and in the material world, and having a scientific approach of a discerning mind and understanding to our everyday life and our world situation. And that brings us about the next important message. The task of the new age workers is to bring these apparent opposites together, to demonstrate that spirit and matter are not antagonistic to each other, and that throughout the entire universe, only spiritual substance, there is only spiritual substance, working on and producing outer tangible forms. When a form and activity is what you call evil, it is only so because the motivating energy behind the form and responsible for the activity is wrongly oriented, selfishly impulsed, and incorrectly used. Here again, the two basic truisms of modern occultism. There are others which will be imparted when the two are mastered and rightly applied are of importance. So, first of all, to state again, it's in bringing together spirit and matter. That's the next task, and it's also mentioned again, there is only spiritual substance, and form is not evil, it's only the motive behind the energy we put into every form we create. That's what could be regarded as evil. And so it's here again two basic principles. First, energy follows thought. Second, right motive creates right action and right forms. These two statements are of very ancient origin, but are little understood yet. Hence, the first thing which every disciple has to learn is the nature, control of direction of energy. He does this by working with initiating causes, by learning the nature of the realms of causes, and by developing the capacity to get beyond the effect to the cause which generated or produced it. So we go through the cause and see behind the effect. That's the same with a disease, or it is the symptom, but what is the cause below the obvious symptom of a disease? So, and that's what we want to train our mind to see behind the effect and trying to understand what is the real cause of it, what has led to any factors that are now visible in the physical world. In the case of the individual disciple and in the preliminary stage of his training, this involves constant investigation of his motive until he has discovered what they are, and so directs his thoughts that those motives can in every case be dependent upon the work automatically and dynamically under soul direction, not under the selfish needs, but under the soul direction. The sixth-ray disciple in majority of cases carries his work down as far as on the astral plane, and there lies the focus of his attention, his life and his thought. Automatically and necessity, his physical nature responds to the impulses sent from the astral plane, motivated by the mental and at times directed by the soul. But the potency of this desire and his determination to see the fruit of his labor has produced much difficulty in the past by arresting the true expression of the originating impulse. It arrested upon the astral plane. This has been balanced by the cyclic intervention of other ray focus, and otherwise the situation would be much worse than it is. The seventh ray disciple will bring the energy which he is wielding right down on the physical plane, thereby producing integration of the dualism which characterize it will be that of a center of energy upon the mental plane and one upon the physical plane. The dualism of the sixth ray worker is the pairs of opposite upon the astral plane. It will be apparent, therefore, that having established 2 points of energy, mental and physical, the next task of the worker in magic will be to produce a synthesis upon the physical plane of the available energies, to concretize them and invest that which has been constructed with potency and activity and persistence. The energy thus employed will, in the major cases, be of 3 kinds. First, the energy of the mind. This will be dominant, controlling energy during the period of accepted discipleship until second illumination. Second, the energy of the soul. This will be widened, used and creatively employed from the second until the third initiation. Third, the energy of the soul and mind, blended and synthesized. This combination is of tremendous potency. After the fourth initiation will be augmented by energy of coming from the monad. And that's the path of our evolution, regardless where we are. That is fine. It's just the stage of where everyone is and where we are, and it is the purpose of our life to learn, to grow and develop our consciousness further, to be of greater service and assist others in their greater understanding and freeing themselves from their limitations. And so then it also states again the words of power, that there is a lot of power in words. This embryonic use of words of power from a study of it's, I will jump that, but it's just saying again, if I might express in this way, ancient statements that God spoke and the words were made, simply means that God's formula for creation was reduced to a great word which he sounded forth, and the inevitable results followed. Something of this process on a tiny human scale will be seen happening in the coming age. At present, what I have said above might sound fanciful and fantastic to the average student. It will be obvious to you that the seventh ray disciple wield much power. For this reason, the emphasis in all teaching given to them is laid upon purity of motive. In the past, the emphasis has been laid upon purity of body. And disciples in the new age laid emphasis upon mental principle because it conditions thoughts and speech. All magical work is based upon the energy of thought and the spoken word. The expression of the 2 magical centers referred to above, and purity in the realm of the mind and motive is regarded as consequently as a basic essential. So it's again remembering the power of our words and cultivating the right motives within us so we can have a purer vessel to serve in however way we can serve others, and constantly questioning our motive, that they are pure and from a loving heart to do good, because no form is evil, it's only the energy directed. Where does it come from that may produce something which isn't good for others? And as there is greater power flowing through us, if we continue our understanding and grow, it is the more important it is to build our character in the right way and try to be harmless and pure in our mind, our interaction, and to really live a life of love and embedded energy and purity, that we can be of greater service. And maybe the last point I may just take out. Yeah, I think that's it. Just we are entering a scientific age, but it will be a science which passes out. No, I think that's it. So I hope it has been insightful for you to understand that, again, the purity of motive and the important fact of energy follows thought. Right motive creates right action, right forms, and that our task as the new age worker is to bring spirit and matter together, and that's the task which is laid upon planet Earth. And if you have a pure heart and can be a pure channel to be used for that purpose, it gives you a vision of where we're heading and where you may be able to contribute towards. Take care and see you soon.